Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This will be the first of my opinion pieces, to be specific. Um, I think I should supposed to introduce myself first. Um, you may know me on Chaos as Death Realm Stream or Chupa or Ermax Faloka or Ezekiel Constantine or numerous minor alts. But most people know me as Chupa Leroy. Chupa Leroy. Um, I've been role playing since I'm 23 and I started 13 years ago, so that doesn't date me. God knows what. Um, Part of the thing that interests me the most about Chaos, and part of the reason why I want to do these things now is that I want to have opinion pieces. And part of my opinion piece thing is that I like to talk about Chaos, frankly, without worry about stuff. And part of that is that it's going to not only just be PG-13, but it's going to be technically R. Not Chaos, this thing. This thing that I'm doing. How is it going to be PG-13 and R-rated at the same time? I'm not letting the idea that my feelings about certain things, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm not going to say this because someone might get mad, or someone might disagree with me. Well, if I did that, I would never do any opinion thing or radio thing or anything, because that would basically mean like, yeah, I don't agree with your radio show or whatever you're doing, and I don't want you to do it anymore. Stop. It doesn't best represent us. Well, I'm sorry. I forgot that I've been role playing for 13 years, and the concept of being on a board that I've been for less than a year. Oh yeah, that makes me shiver in my boots. I mean, let's put it this way. Chaos ain't that old. It's been around for maybe like what, a year or two. Probably not even 2 years. What have other Star Wars sites been around for? Quite a bit. I mean, Chaos is new and it's big and it's fancy and it's got its community and that's great. And it's part of a big Star Wars community. And that's also great. And, but what we need to do more is we need to, step back and look at what we're doing. And that's basically what this whole thing is going to be about. It's basically my opinion piece on certain things that we see in Chaos and why I don't exactly agree with them from my perspective. And I think the best way to define this is that my words on Skype and such things don't don't justify exactly how I want them to sound or be, and I want people to understand more about why I strive towards defending things about Chaos that other people don't. So let's get right into it then. Number one on the idea is this whole thing about bullying is a big thing. We see a lot of bullying now with some members saying like, well, I don't like this member, which, okay, is acceptable. It's okay. You have the right to not like somebody. But then you're like, well, why don't we kill their characters? Yeah, that will solve it. That will solve the issue. Well, no, it doesn't really. It doesn't solve the issue. What does it solve at all? Nothing. All you're saying is basically like, I don't like you. You annoy me in some fashion. So based off this thing that you like to do and that I like to do, I'm basically just going to take whatever you're writing on, if it was paper in the situation, and rip it in half and say, ha, see, I am the better person. That doesn't make you the better person. Do you know what you do if you don't like somebody? You be nice to them. You act like an adult and act mature around them. If you're walking around people in your workplace and be like, I don't like you, I want to do things in spite against you, that's not being mature. That's not being an adult. Being an adult is, I don't like you, but I also respect the fact that you have a different opinion and lifestyle than I do. So instead of trying to get back at you, you can just do your thing and I can do my thing. But in situations where we have to interact, I want you to know that I want to look for a median. And that's what we really need to do more of with Chaos, at least. Find a median between things. Because it's like, I'm the Sith, and I absolutely am the best. And what we see in the Republic is, hi, we're the Republic. We are the best. And so when you put two people that say they're the best in a room with each other and say, hey, you've got to fight the other guy, and neither one of you can in any way, shape, or form be unrealistic about how you would react to things. It's nigh impossible. So what we really need to start doing more of is awareness of what is acceptable, both out of character and in character. In character, it would make sense that the Jedi are going to hate the Sith, and the Sith are going to hate the Jedi. But other things have to make sense, too. Like, okay. Some things that I just don't get. Probably because of who I am and the way I am and the way I present myself accidentally on Chaos is that I kind of get shunned and pushed into a corner. At least I feel that is the way things are. I feel like I feel like I'm an outcast on Chaos. Even though I've been around Star Wars role-playing for a long time. And that's because I play characters that are very blatant and in your face. And that kind of rubs people the wrong way. Or the fact that it takes me originally when I was losing my muse and before I got back into creative writing, it was difficult for me to post because I have to think about how the character acts, and for me, role playing is something that I can, it's my stress relief. I can write this down, and I've used my character for a little while, and it makes me feel happy. And I can understand why people can be like, I'm going to get out 100 posts this night because it's my free time, my only free time, and then I got to go back to work. I get that. But when you have those people like, hey, you're not posting enough, or you don't contribute enough to this faction, why are you here? Why are you doing this? You don't belong here. That's when we take the step outside of out of character and in character. In character, I'm a member of a faction. Out of character, I am a member of a group of people who roleplay in that faction. Just because I may not roleplay as much or interact as much with other people as you do, in character, does not mean you should be able to prejudice against me, or hate me, or exclude me from things simply because, out of character, just because in character I have these things going doesn't mean you have the right to instantly act as if my out of character and in character are the same person. And I can understand why people would be angry at that idea. And I can also understand why people would agree with that. But I don't like using names, and it's not an attack on anybody, but a lot of the things we see with Mark or with Enigma or with other things is that people have role played with him before, and they disagree with certain things about him. I have roleplayed with Enigma before, not Enigma, but some of his other characters before, and I didn't see I didn't see any of that despite or hatred, and people like, oh well, they wrote this story or that story, and I didn't like it, and it was really it wasn't really what my vision of Star Wars is. So what we're going to do is we're going to judge him out of the game for these ideas in his head that he writes. And he writes down and he tells us about them. He shouldn't do that. We're going to judge him. We roleplay on a Star Wars site where literally you can be almost any race in the entire multiverse for universe for Star Wars. Or galaxy, technically. And we're going to go around and be like, that thing you're doing with your character is gone too far. However, that guy who just joined, it's perfectly acceptable for him to come on from another board and be a godlike master of the dark side